So Shonen Jump got a new one, eh? Shonen Jump got a new series that I was shocked when I saw it, because normally for many a years I've been the bell ringer. What I mean by that is I've been the guy that comes out and says, hey everyone, Shonen Jump got a new awesome manga. Whether it was the Hunter's Guild Red Hood, whether it was Ayashimon, going further back, whether it was Hungry Joker, Sensei no Boge, Red Sprite, Iron Knight, the list goes on and on, Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru. I have been the guy that I come out and I'm like, yo, I just read this new Shonen Jump manga and it's gas, everybody should go read it right now, and then everybody goes and reads it. So it was honestly a delightful surprise for me personally to see all over social media everybody hyping this manga that wasn't even officially out yet. Like, people were hyping off of just some of the art, some of the promotional imagery, and a couple of panels and stuff like that of this manga known as Kagurabachi. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this must be what everybody else used to feel like when I would go and be like, hey guys, check out this manga, because I was like, okay, you got my interest. Considering the fact that coming into this one, we have to be very cognizant, because in case you don't know, if you're new to this thing, you have no understanding of it, wherever you're watching this thing right now, hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps a whole bunch for the channel and the growth. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Tim signing out. No, seriously, subscribe. Okay, future me, you're welcome. All right, I said it. Kagurabachi. Here's the thing, right? Shonen Jump, and I've been saying this for a long time, Shonen Jump are in a pickle right now when it comes to their main magazine, their physical publication. Shonen Jump, the most popular manga magazine in the world right now. Or just, it's always been pretty much the most popular manga magazine, minus the beginning. I think in the beginning, Weekly Shonen Magazine was the biggest, and then Shonen Jump overtook them, and it's kind of been that way ever since. But Shonen Jump has, over the last few years, had a lot of series that have come to an end. Their biggest one, pretty much the biggest hit probably of all time, the quickest hit, was Demon Slayer. That ended. Chainsaw Man ended and then went to Jump Plus. Recently Black Clover has gone on, or has been removed from the magazine, and now it's going to be quarterly in Jump Giga. There's just been a lot of changes, so the lane is open for a battle series, and even more so, I would throw the argument, the need for a battle series is extreme right now. We're at pretty much the cusp of, like, when Naruto and One Piece's reign as the big three was coming to an end, and Naruto ended, and Bleach was coming to an end and whatnot. We're kind of there, because at any given time, Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero could end, and once those two end, it's a Rizzy. Like, the big dogs are gone, they're out of here. You know what I'm saying? Shonen Jump at that point only has One Piece, and everything else is just leaps and bounds below One Piece. So Kagurabachi, a part of me questions like the validity of how that hype came about, because I was like, wait a minute. At first I thought the manga was already out when I started hearing murmurings about it. I was like, oh, okay, the manga's out, let's go. And then I look and I'm like, wait a minute, so the manga's not out, but people are hyping it and they're passing around like art of it because one of the drawings look cool. Part of me starts questioning, like, I wonder if this is some sort of marketing tactic. Like, you know, there's millions of bots all over the internet. Never be fooled into thinking that, you know, always at the very least question the validity of some shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw Kagurabachi blowing up at first, I was thinking to myself, oh, but the manga's not out yet. How are people hyping about this? You know what I'm saying? So a little bit questioning there. So boom, I read Kagurabachi. Let me pull it up. I read Kagurabachi chapter 1. It is 55. I want to say it's about like 55 pages. It is a manga by Takeru Hokazono. Yeah, Takeru Hokazono. And it's about this dude. I'm gonna give you guys a play-by-play of the manga, kind of, sort of. It's basically this dude. It starts off, this young guy. He's with his pops. His pops is, how do you say this? He forges swords. You know, he's kind of a blacksmith, so to speak. And his pops is training him to become a blacksmith because his pops was legendary, like iconic, all-time Hall of Fame. Think like, I don't know, what is it, Gato from Berserk, like, you know, the blacksmith that was, you know, forging swords and whatnot. His pops is infamous because, like, in one of the previous wars, they really attribute that the steel swords that homie made was the reason why they won this. Like, you know, they had great samurai, all that stuff, but it was the swords that he made that really made it that they were able to win. So he's recognized as like the GOAT, so to speak, of blacksmiths. And he's training his son, and his son's name is Ochin. Let me double check what his son's name. His son's name is Chihiro. So he's training his son Chihiro to eventually become one himself and sell swords and all of that thing. But he's also teaching him the responsibilities of it. He's teaching him like, yo, you know, once you sell a sword, you basically put, because not only swords are used for good, they're also used for bad. People die thanks to swords. People die in combat because of the stuff that we make here. So the day you sell your sword, you basically put something into the world that is going to be a weight on your shoulders. So he's trying to teach him the ropes. Definitely felt, especially considering the hype and whatnot, I was a little bit shocked because I thought I was, you know, in store for something like, I guess it would say like the levels of Chainsaw Man, where it's like, whoa, one thing after another, and that wasn't the case at all, which I'm not mad at per se. Because in all honesty, after reading Kagurabachi chapter 1, a part of me almost felt like, is this a Shonen Jump series? This felt more like whatever magazine or whatever publication Seraph of the End is in. It kind of felt a little bit like that. It kind of felt a little bit like maybe it would have even been like a Jump Plus title or something like that, because it felt pacing wise, it wasn't too fast. It was kind of very steady with the pacing. At first I was a little confused as well, because the art of the character, I thought that was the pops, the dad. So I'm reading this thing like, why are they showing the son? You know what I'm saying? This is weird. Okay, because you see the father and he looks like a badass himself, which at first I thought like, nah, his father's gonna be like some sick, you know, swordsman, samurai or something like that. But no, he just forges the swords. But again, he's notorious. As the plot goes on, again, him teaching his son about, you know, the responsibilities and all that stuff. One of his friends show up from the past, and it's interesting because his son doesn't really look like he's all that interested in becoming like a blacksmith per se and forging swords. Like, he kind of has this dead expression of like, yeah, whatever, which kind of has me a little bit like, I don't know how that's going to translate for, you know, especially in Japan. Because again, right now, Kagurabachi in the West after chapter 1 already a hit. People are loving it. But the Japanese are the ones that at this point still hold reins on whether or not this is going to be a hit. And the Japanese, oftentimes, if there's no characters that are with the similar qualities of like a Naruto or a Luffy or things of that nature, they may get turned off by it. Because again, the main character, Chihiro, he's a lot more serious. He's a lot more like sarcastic in a way. Looks like he doesn't really care about much. And he's just kind of like, you know, nonchalant to a certain degree. So that was something that had me worried throughout the manga. But again, the father's friend from like back in the day shows up at some given point and kind of just hypes up even more of which, let me see, can I find, what is his name here? Hold on, I think I can find his name. Mr. Shiba, I think that's his name. Yeah, Shiba and he's important because he shows up, but he has a pivotal role later on with Chihiro. And he basically, again, just talking about how epic his father is, but I felt like he was more so lending towards giving you characterization of Chihiro. Of like, yo, he looks like he wants to, his words aren't matching his body language to me. Like, Chihiro's like, yeah, no, I want to be like my pops. Even when he's talking to his dad, he's like, yeah, I want to be like my pops. I want to do what he does. I want to become a blacksmith, so to speak, all that jazz. But he just looks like he doesn't really want to. So even when Shiba's talking to him, he's like, yeah, no, of course, yeah, I want to be like him. So it's very odd. Then, in the middle of the manga, after all of that setup, which again, I'm not mad at it. I could see some people that they want everything to happen really, really quick, that TikTok mentality era or whatnot. I could see some of these people being turned off by reading this first chapter, at the very least the beginning of it, because it is so much more like slow and steady wins the race. A lot of build up and setup, a lot of the characterization of Chihiro, a lot of the lessons and setup of what the story really is about. The father talking about forging swords, you know, talking about like there's bad people in this world. A lot of really just build up. We got a time skip though, which I'm like, wow, okay. A 38-month time skip. So it's basically like, what would that be? 12, 24, 36. So 3 years and 2 months. Pretty much like the Boruto time skip. Now I think about it, about 3 years, right? So you got essentially a 3-year time skip in between where Chihiro is going to train with his father to learn about being a blacksmith and learn about forging swords and all of this goodness. And it leads you to the current day of the story, where Chihiro is now older, and I guess it starts off where like there's like these yakuza type of dudes, like a lot of criminal type of dudes that are doing horrible things, tying people up, all sorts of really crazy stuff is happening. And I'm like, okay, how we go from, you know, he's forging swords out there with his pops to 38 months later, you know, we're watching yakuza dudes doing horrible stuff. And I think it starts off actually with us seeing Mr. Shiba walking around. And yeah, these guys, these Yakuza-esque type of dudes, they're so criminal and whatnot, like they're just really bad, that Mr. Shiba and a new and older Chihiro just start destroying them, kicking major tail, you know, sword style, like chopping off limbs, all sorts of stuff. And I'm gonna keep it real. Now that I'm thinking of it, Chihiro's epicness with the time skip and, you know, just the way he looks and the serious nature kind of gives me a little bit of Boruto from Two Blue Vortex, now that I'm thinking of it. Now granted, I haven't read the latest chapter because it doesn't officially come out until tomorrow as of the streaming of this, the recording of this, whatever you want to call it. But Chihiro, time skip Chihiro kind of reminds me of Boruto, probably a little bit darker, I guess you would say, because these are like real world people that him and Shiba are like just annihilating. Because you see again, like these Yakuza type dudes, they got dudes tied up that they're torturing, all sorts of stuff. And Chihiro, once he shows up on the scene, he just starts slicing and dicing. He looks a lot more like his pops now. He's taller. He looks even more serious, which Chihiro already in the beginning of the story is kind of like a serious, nonchalant kid. 3 years later, he looks even more serious and more like, nah, don't play with me, fam. And I ain't gonna lie, the action towards the end of this story, it just gets really, really brutal and graphic, which again, I was like, okay, Shonen Jump. If y'all are intending to make this one a long runner or whatnot, you definitely got a lot of people's attention, because you gave them two things. I feel like you gave them the type of setup that will allow the older audiences that have read all of the shonen, that is like quick shit happening and fun, happy-go-lucky, like for a more mature audience, you give them that. And then you also give the violence and all the other crazy stuff that anybody would want to see. I'm like, oh snap, you know, he just slashed him in half, you know, an arm went flying. I'm literally looking at an arm fly right now on page 43. Like, Chihiro slashed one of these dudes' his arms off, slashed the dude on his chest. Like, dude is epic as hell. Again, looking more like his father, although it wasn't really said that his father ever wielded a sword. His father was just, you know, he forged the sword. So that makes you think, well, what the hell happened in 38 months that Chihiro is now a super serious guy, blood splatter all over his face, attacking people. He got a scar on his face that Shiba is saying like, yo, you know, you could probably get that fixed or whatnot. And Chihiro is so serious at this point, he's like, no, when I wake up in the morning, I want to see that as a reminder to continue on my quest in this anger or whatnot that he has. So some really dark stuff has happened. And then there's this line, well, there's a couple of different lines, but there's this one line that basically alludes to that Chihiro's father was killed. And that right there was like, what the hell? Let me see if I can find the line. The katana that boy, yeah, right here. The katana that boy wields was Kunishige's last katana, the one he gave his life to make, meaning that Chihiro's father was killed. Because if he gave his life to make this final sword, something horrible happened within those 38 months that led to where we're at right now. And oh my god, before I even go any further, just some of these panels, like on page 48, 49, Chihiro with the sword doing just incredible, crazy slashes. Like, it looks sick, and it looks like he's wielding certain, like, I don't know if it's magic or what. Like, it looks crazy, because then there's also, because it's not just straightforward. Like, initially I thought like, okay, is this just gonna be like a straightforward, like a dude that is like, you know, hunting down Yakuza stuff? But there was a couple of lines that alluded towards it's not gonna just be cut and dry, because there's a line right here where I want to say, again, Shiba. So Shiba's kind of being used as like the guy to set up dialogue. Instead of having a narrator, Shiba's been like, hey, so this is what's happening. Because he says the katana he made, referring to the one that Chihiro is wielding now towards the end of the story, were enchanted blades with special powers. And then Chihiro says Enten, and when he's pulling the sword, you see, like, God, the art. I ain't gonna lie, this author for this first chapter is busting with the art, and it looks like damn near like, I don't know, a Pisces fish or something is like coming out of the sword. So very, very epic stuff right there. And again, pages 50-51, when he slashes, dude literally slashes like, I don't know, maybe 15 people in half with his sword. So it's not just a typical slasher. There's gonna be like extra powers to this for the people that like that stuff. I would have been fine with it being a regular, you know, just like he's a super sick samurai with the sword or super sick swordsman. But he pretty much takes all of them down and ends it with saying Nishiki. So that's probably one of his attack moves, that when he just slashes people around. And it ends with Chihiro, after slashing all these people down, he's looking for a certain, I believe, group. He asked them, he's looking for the Hishaku, I believe. The Hishaku. And I'm imagining that the Hishaku are the ones that are responsible for the death of his father. And that's probably why he's hunting him down. And Chihiro is just like, he was already a serious kid, but now the chapter ends off with, I have to cut them down. Basically, this is a quest of vengeance. Something happened. More than likely, I'm going to imagine if Chihiro has that scar on the side of his face, his father was cut down making a sword. Probably these, what are they called again? Hold on, I'm sorry. The Hishaku people were probably the ones that they maybe attacked his father while he was forced him to make the sword, attacked him, slashed him on the side of the face, and made him have this quest of vengeance to take down these people that murdered his father and left him in the state that he's in right now. And I'm not gonna lie, art-wise, like, now breaking it down, art-wise, awesome, especially the action. Like, the author made sure it looks steady, smooth, and consistent throughout. And then when it gets to the action portion, he was just like, nah, let me show you now. Let me show you now, because the art looks amazing when he's slashing dudes in half, when he's, you know, using some of these enchanted powers with the sword, the water that is coming out of it. Again, it seems as though he has like a aquatic sword of sorts, and it's just like epic as hell. Big shout outs to this author's art game in terms of that. Story wise, I feel like it's gonna be either a hit or miss with certain markets. Like, I feel like the beginning of the chapter, it's so smooth, and I don't want to use the word slow, because I guess I could see some people calling it slow, but it feels like it needs just a lot of the exposition that it is building up into, hey, his father's a sword maker. Hey, his father's warning him. Hey, his father is teaching him. His father is doing this, that, and the third. And also showing, I guess, even more so, the building of this camaraderie. Like, his father, even if Chihiro was kind of like a little bit serious, sarcastic, maybe he initially didn't want to forge swords, whatever the case may be, he has a very strong bond with his father. It's him and his father all through. So you fast forward 38 months later, now there's a lot of impact. But again, you know, with this new age of manga fans, I don't know if Shonen Jump fans, especially in Japan, that they like and they prefer more the comedic and they prefer more of that stuff. I don't know if they're going to rock with the serious nature of Kagurabachi, because I'll be honest with you, there was not that much room for comedy in this. Like, there was some jokes with the father in the beginning, there was some jokes with Mr. Shiba, but the main character himself, he falls more along the lines of like a serious type character. I don't know where I would put him, because even Tanjiro, while being serious, Tanjiro's not that damn serious, but he falls more closer to like a Tanjiro or maybe an Ichigo type of character, where they can, I guess their sarcasm and seriousness can lead sometimes to comedy, but the fact that it's not goofy, the fact that there's no like, oh, gee willikers, I don't know how these new age fans are going to take to it. Me personally, I love that it feels like this doesn't necessarily feel like this would have been the standard thing that Jump would try. This feels like Shonen Jump recognizes that, again, you know, Demon Slayer is gone, Chainsaw Man is gone, Black Clover is gone. The 2 out of the 3 big series that they have right now are going to end at any given point. My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen. They recognize they need something right now, and that's probably why they're taking a chance with putting a series like this, where dudes is getting slashed up like no tomorrow. All these people just getting destroyed, body, blood everywhere. Dudes showing up, which I'm gonna keep on saying it, dog. Chihiro has Boruto inspiration written all over him. I don't know, fam. I don't know. Shonen Jump, why y'all playing with my guy for? Showing up with the scar after a 3-year time skip? I see you. What y'all doing? Don't play with my 2 blue vortex. But Kagurabachi, in all honesty, if you've read shonen manga before, if you've read a lot of the stuff that's been out there, and you're ready for something that is a little bit more mature in nature, I think that this is for you. If you're interested in something that is not just the typical, I think this is kind of for you as well, because it has that Yakuza type of thing. Dude has clearly special abilities that is kind of like reminiscent of like a Demon Slayer when he's, you know, using this aquatic type sword. And the fact that it starts off with him wanting to be, or him training with his father to be a sword, you know, blacksmith. The pop's dying. I mean, that's kind of typical with some manga, I guess you would say, of like, because normally they have the characters already, like the parents, if they're dead already, or whatnot. But like, you know, think of like Demon Slayer, which I guess that would be the inspiration. Demon Slayer, you know, Tanjiro's father or Tanjiro's family is massacred in the beginning. So it's kind of, I guess, maybe some of the inspiration there, but it's nothing like any of those series. Like, it feels, again, a lot more mature, and I'm hoping that Shonen Jump doesn't axe it. I'm hoping that this actually is a hit in Japan as well, because if Japan doesn't rock with this, there's a high probability that they won't let it continue on, which I feel like, even if Japan doesn't rock with it, the fact that the West rocks with it so heavy already is a good sign to, okay, maybe it doesn't do well in Japan, put it in Jump Plus, continue it on there, and just get it out of the magazine over there, the physical publication of Shonen Jump, because it's a pretty awesome story. It feels just like, again, shockingly mature for Shonen Jump. Like, it's not like the mature that you would get from, again, because some people might say Chainsaw Man was mature. Chainsaw Man was mature for different reasons. It was like, yo, you know, homie is walking around like his goal is to pipe, while Naruto want to be Hokage, Luffy want to be Pirate King, Chainsaw Man was Denji wanting to get into a woman's drawers. So it was mature in that aspect, more adult in that aspect. This one is just like very bloody, very violent towards the end of the first chapter at the very least, and a lot more serious. So it's mature in that aspect, but I really like it. I think the art is sick, and it's shocking that this is even getting love like that, to be honest with you, because of the fact as well that it kind of has a more slower than normal pace for it. Like, I'm shocked at the hype that this is getting, because it's good, but normally this type of good doesn't get this type of hype. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see where Kagurabachi lands. If you want to check it out, again, it's called Kagurabachi. First chapter has 55-ish pages, 2 colored pages in the beginning, and it's pretty hype, it's pretty fire. I was pretty impressed. It wasn't like reinventing the wheel per se. There was some tropes that I've seen before, but it just felt serious in nature, mature in nature, and a shocker for Shonen Jump. I feel like Shonen Jump is trying a lot of different things nowadays because they need a hit, and they need a battle hit quick. And Kagurabachi might be it. Chihiro's cool. I'm imagining we're gonna get more characters as we continue, you know, introduce, you know, the main female heroine and things of that nature. But as it stands right now, it's Chihiro, Mr. Shiba, and Chihiro on a quest for vengeance after his father was seemingly murdered by some Yakuza type of people, and it's pretty sick. And Chihiro has to be inspired by Boruto, I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely a lot of Demon Slayer references though, and that is a good thing, because hey, they know at the end of the day Demon Slayer made them the coin, Zabag, so to speak, so they're gonna go for it. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't want to keep on repeating myself, but wow, Shonen Jump really, they're taking a gamble on this. Okay, let's just see if Japan rocks with it, because we've been wrong before. Hunter's Guild Red Hood, Ayashimon, I could name you a like 10 off rip of we thought this was a hit and Japan didn't like it, so it didn't go nowhere. So that was Kagurabachi. Definitely recommend you read it.
This is for my day one. This is for my day one. I would like to thank each and every person that has taken time to listen and provide feedback for my new album that is out right now, The Rise of Tim Roosevelt. You can listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere you get your music. You can listen to it. Link in the description below so you could go check it out for yourself. Thank you so much, and let's keep on rocking out, you know?